And welcome to the PMBC meeting for December 11th, 2024. First order of business is to review the warrants. We have two invoices tonight. The first one we'll review is for this is for 36 King Street. Oh, I need to share the screen here. Share. Okay, we have Vertex for $14,824.50. We have Classic Construction for $410,454. We've got LLB Architects for $17,823 for a total of $443,101.50. I'd sent these invoices out prior to the meeting, so I don't know if anyone had a chance to look at them or if you have any questions.
I have a question.
Okay.
The application certificate for payment from Classic Construction cover page shows that with the current payment, their job is about 63% done, and most of the figures in back of that back that up. My question is that on the next page under general requirements for fees and supervision and mobilization and all, not mobilization, but temporary construction and barriers and stuff, a lot of that is at 97%. And I was wondering why the general conditions numbers are so far ahead of the actual construction.
That's a good comment. Brian, can you respond to that?
It's a great question, Bartlett. What we have right now is per the original schedule that we had, they still should have about 3 months remaining on this. I believe they still have sorry, it's scrolling a little bit there. Not on the existing conditions, but on the general conditions. We do hold our 5% retainage, which is held in the right there, which will be held. And then other items that are usually mobilization, like temp facilities, temporary barriers. But I do believe you have a point with our supervision that we have here. We have a $6,000 retainage held, as well as just under $4,000 balance to finish. That is something that we would not be releasing in the future payments for anything beyond this. Any change orders that we need to discuss today have overhead and profit built into it, which would be the additional GCs that are built into said change orders that become part of this Division 1, ultimately, that we would be reviewing as well.
Does that satisfy your question, Bartlett?
Well, not entirely, but I mean, if it's okay with Vertex, it's probably going to be okay with me.
We took a look at this too, though, Bartlett, and
okay.
Honestly, I think what we're going to be doing is for the December requisition is sitting down with them with what is what's left to be completed from a supervisor and space that out based upon what their new construction schedule is, based upon the change orders that we have coming up. And then we'll dictate the remaining amount of payment that they're able to rec on per month from here on.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I've been in situations where subcontractors were, billing for 50% when they hadn't started yet.
Right.
Under some circumstances, it could be an issue.
Good point. Thanks.
Are the general conditions? Is that work generally spread out equally over the job, or does that front load?
It would both, Tim. There are certain line items that are spread out throughout the job, regarding, certain super and super, certain monthly bills that they will cost, like dumpsters, temporary toilets, things like that. But there are some front loading that needs to happen as well, such as mobilization, insurances, and bonds that need to be paid up front.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the invoice for 36 King Street in the amount of $443,101.50?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
roll call vote. Bartlett,
Bartlett, yes.
Tim,
Tim, yes.
Mike,
Mike Scudetto, yes.
and Steve Moore, yes. Thank you. Motion carries. Next, we will look at the invoice for the senior center. And we have 5 items here. Vertex Corporation, $334,275. LB Architects, $17,878.16. Commodore Building, $1,356,887.15. PSI Professional Services for testing, $745. And WSP, who's the commissioning agent, $764.30 for a combined total of $1,410,549.61. Any questions on this?
Yeah, just curious, for Vertex, the construction site manager and the project manager, is that you guys, Brian and Matthew, or?
That's correct. Our site manager, who's not on the call right now, is Doug Goddard. He's there he's there full time on site from a day-to-day basis. Matthew has a bigger PM role. He's there about a day and a half a week, and then my oversight's about a half a day per week.
Got it. Thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions?
No.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call vote. Bartlett,
Bartlett, yes.
Tim,
Tim, yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Steve Moore, yes. So the motion is approved to approve the invoice for the senior center for $1,410,549.61. So let's see, the next order of business is meeting minutes. So we have 3 meeting minutes to approve. The revised minutes were sent out for the October 9th, October 23rd, and November 13th. There was no meeting on the 27th. Did anyone have any questions on the revised meeting minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Mike. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Bartlett,
Yes, Bartlett, yes.
Tim,
Tim, yes.
Mike,
Mike, yes.
Steve, yes. Motion carries. Shaker Lane School feasibility study. I'll talk to that briefly, if I can get this out of here. So, as of December 9th, the MSBA was in receipt of our preferred schematic report. On the next day, which was yesterday, the 10th, MSBA reviewed and requested additional information. And this morning, the OPM, Turner Townsend and Harry, responded that they would get the information to the MSBA by the end of the week. So this is the first major step in the process, and that's all I have to report. So next order of business is, get this up again. The senior center, Brian.
Yep. Thanks, Steve. So as you can see by the amount that Commodore billed this month, we've had quite a bit of progress in work in place over the past month. Interiors being fit out, drywalls going in, ceilings are beginning to go in, all mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems are ongoing. We've actually scheduled some plumbing startups with our commissioning agent within the next month. Like I said, with commissioning agents, we also have ongoing meetings with them, scheduling for startup, pre-functional checklists, as well as making sure the mechanical and building maintenance system is going to be on board to make sure that we are operating per the sequence of operation. From a town standpoint, we've put in our order for our furniture package on the interior. With help from the town, we've put in a small appliance package that was to be provided by the owner. We used the state bid list. It was very short money in order to outfit the kitchenette. We were able to use Home Depot on a state bid list and receive quite a bit of discount for that. And so thanks to Town Facilities for opening the account and using the state bid list for the procurement there. Exterior siding's gone right now. If you drive by, you'll see a small section of the corner has been painted as a mock-up. That is under review right now by the architect. And with that approval, we'd be scheduling the painting to come in the spring, as we don't want to try to rush that to do it with the inclement weather coming. In addition to the building proper, we are still we're working with the plumber and the design team regarding the 31 Shattuck, which is our construction house. We are coordinating a price and proposal for the interior sewer plumbing that's going to exit the house and tie into the new sewer main that's out in Shattuck Street. We do have an allowance built into the GMP for that, so we're hoping we can maintain and stay within budget there. In addition to the plumbing, we'll need to put in a new small driveway, which is being designed by our civil engineer. And then the civil engineer will also be going in front of the planning board for an A&R review for the property lines that needed to be adjusted between the two properties. This month, we don't have any change orders from Commodore Builders to provide to you. However, we do have one request that we were looking for a vote, which is for the AV audiovisual package for this building. To give a quick cliff notes and history on this, I took some experienced budgeting from our previous jobs that we had in Littleton at the library. I budgeted $50,000 for technology and AV in the building. The first quote that we received from our AV consultant was around $169,000. To which we've been working for months trying to pare things down, making sure that what we're going to get on the end user is what they need, as well as having the broadcast capabilities for the building and LCTV. With Kirby on, you can speak to it as well if you'd like. A big help and a big thank you to Kirby and LCTV for helping us dig through the weeds on the technical side, making sure that what is being proposed is going to be actually installed and used by the end user. And what I'm asking for a vote tonight, and I can share my screen, is to show what we're proposing as a budget transfer in order to cover a not to exceed cost for this AV package. As we are still working with the vendor rep, There are some pieces of this quote that we'd like to release, such as the projector screen and the projector that's going to be in the multi-purpose room, that we need to coordinate with Commodore, who needs to do the installation for this. The other components of this are the AV rack and the components of the rack, the speakers, the microphones, as well as any connections between the AV closet, the AV office, as well as our MDF room. So if I can, if you don't mind, Steve, if I could share my screen. What you see here is our VIP packet that was sent out to the committee. And this is a quick snapshot of where we sit on our side of the table for budgeting. And I'd want to put your attention down to the bottom right corner. That is funds that has not been committed or appropriated to anything at this point. And so there's about $1.1 million remaining in the kitty that we have, which is a accumulation of all of the budgeted line items that we have. The two lines that I'm showing here, which is phones and AV, computers and technology, are the $50,000 that I referenced. And what we're proposing to the committee is to approve a budget transfer to increase the $50,000 to $130,000. That budget line transfer would be coming from our security line item, as well as the underage that we're in our furniture package right now. The furniture package was around $250,000, so we're suggesting we transfer the remaining funds out of our furniture and equipment to our AV line item, as well as our security line item, to help supplement the money with that. The hope is that the $130,000 will be reduced based on our comments on the quote that we have. But with the PMBC schedule, we want to make sure that we're empowered to do so and work this quote down as low as we can, but also release the equipment that has some lead time and coordination with Commodore. I can show the quote as well if people would like to look at it. But that's what we're asking for.
Well, I assume Kirby has been through this with a fine-tooth comb. Is that right?
Kirby's been instrumental. He's we're going to be on version 3 of the quote right now, and that's also a lot of coordination with Liz and with LCTV to make sure that there isn't any redundancies and there's no fluff in maybe being offered something that Liz and her staff aren't going to be needed.
Yes, to answer your question, Steve.
Yeah, I'm sure. So,
in hindsight, Steve, I think I should have budgeted more for this AV and probably asked our designer to maybe do some more design work up front and ask the PMBC before these went out to bid about, maybe some more design work would have helped us get some separate pricing for this. But as we're here now, we do have other line items that are under budget and would be able to accommodate that. Another line item I did want to bring to your attention is I've held $100,000 since the beginning of the project for soil removal, and that was with the fear that we were going to have contaminated soils underneath the foundation wall. With the help of the DPW and the export that we did not have to tap into that money at all.
So considering that our next PMBC meeting won't be until January 8th, which is almost a month away, I think it's imperative that we take a vote on this tonight. Do you have any questions for Brian?
Yeah. So they're going to show movies in the senior center. Isn't that true?
Yeah, that's one thing that they're doing.
I mean, is that part of the reason that it was more expensive to get all this stuff in?
I wouldn't say showing movies was the primary cause. There's just a lot of moving pieces that it's in there, Tim, that's more advanced, so to speak, than what we did for the library. Plus, the multi-purpose room is a much larger physical area. And so if in the library, I think we put a half a dozen speakers in, ceiling speakers, and in the multi-purpose room in the senior center, I think we're at 16. Now, those aren't that expensive, but as the room gets larger, the components get more numerous.
And one thing to add for Tim, a little back history on this is during the design phase, we did do a few rounds of value engineering. As we were getting our estimates in, there were concerns about our budget, making sure we were going to stay within budget. One of the things that was deleted out of the project was the projector and the screen. And so as construction has gone on and things have not had to be used, we've now gotten a cost, and part of this is the projector and the screen that would be added into there. We will have the provisions in the ceiling and the cables run to it, but this is also for the, physical equipment. And that screen, because these ceilings are 14 feet high, would be mechanically raised and lowered from a touch screen near the AV closet.
Nice. Yeah.
Any other discussion? So Brian, I'm gonna let you frame the motion on this one.
Sure. We are seeking a vote to approve a budget transfer in order to increase the AV budgeted line item to $130,000 for the AV vendor quote, knowing that we will be working to reduce said quote, but we will be releasing that as soon as we're comfortable with it. So that was not what I should have motioned, but that is what the explanation would be.
And that's gonna come out of which line items? It's gonna come out of soil removal and what else?
To make it clean, Steve, I think what I can propose is just transferring hold for soil removal directly to our phones and AV line item, and that will increase it directly to the $130,000. And then if there are any under budgets in that, we would come to another PMBC meeting with another budget transfer where we could dump that into a project contingency at that point.
Sounds good. Any comments or discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
Yes. Motion to approve.
Second,
Second,
roll call vote, Bartlett,
Bartlett, yes.
Tim,
Tim, yes.
Mike,
Mike Skidmore, yes.
and Steve Moore, yes. Okay, Brian, anything else on senior center?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
I know we have a lot to go over on 36 King Street.
If
So-
you'd like, I can start with King Street.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we need a budget transfer from Senior Center over to King Street. So if we want to vote for that, that would be nice. But
I think that's going to come from elsewhere.
So at King Street, we've been moving right along. However, we're at a point now where we have received multiple change orders from the contractor. Some of these are previously budgeted line items that we're now running through the contractor. Some of these are unforeseen conditions, and some of these are requests from the town for upgrades now that we have a contractor on site and we've gotten some pricing for it. We've had multiple meetings with the town assistant town administrator and the finance director with our concerns about the changes that are coming through and the appropriation and budget that we have. What we're suggesting, we've had probably 2 or 3 meetings leading up to this PMBC meeting to prioritize the changes that we are seeing here that would need to be approved in order to let the contractor proceed, specifically with things in wall that are going to need inspection so that they can continue and try to maintain their schedule. I do have, Matt, if you have the sharing capability, I'd like to pull up the PCO log to show you. What we're sharing today for PCOs will not exceed the appropriation and will not exceed the budget that we have right now. However, we are meeting 2 to 3 times a month currently with the finance director and with Ryan, the assistant town administrator, to determine if things are priority and if they are to be recommended to the PMBC, what the process is going to be if there are any other funds from facilities or other building funds that would need to be supplemented into our overall budget. To go through what we're recommending today and what we're not recommending today, I'll run through these quickly. Feel free to jump in and stop me at any time or wait to the end and you can ask questions. We have CR number 17, which is door hardware upgrades to the existing doors. This was an error on the architect and the designer. They provided a report on an inventory of the entire building's hardware. It was not included as part of the bid documents, so nothing was bid on with this. Had we issued this report as part of an addenda in order for a contractor to bid, we would see contractor bids that were probably going to be around $25,000 higher than what we saw as our low bid. However, this is to fix any of the broken hinges and hardware enclosures that are throughout the entire building. It's a pretty robust report, and this would be to make sure that everything is streamlined in the same make and model that we're going to have on any of the new hardware that we have.
So just to be clear, that would be an omission and not an error.
Yes, there would be it's an omission. Yep.
Yep.
CR number 28. This was a accumulation of multiple electrical changes that we asked for. In our budget that we can show, we have a $90,000 budgeted line item for what we're calling low voltage. Low voltage, we originally wanted to do that through the owner. We determined that scope was going to be a little too large in order to award it to just an owner house doctor or something like that. So we opted to run that through the contractor. The change order we received, because it's made up of multiple different pieces and components, has light fixtures in there, which is a want from the school department as well as Parks and Rec. We are suggesting that we table the light fixtures right now and only approve the low voltage and added cat communication cable inside the building. So that's for $80,643.92. Like I said, I had $90,000 in our budgeted line item. What we would be doing is just budget transfer that to our contingency and then run this as a change order. But it is slightly under what we were carrying for it. Number 32R1 is additional structural steel in the basement. We're recommending this. This has been multiple field visits from our structural engineer. Now that walls and steel and support has been opened up in the basement, there was some additional C channeling. If you've been down in the basement, you've seen the sistering of the existing timbers that has been done. There's an extension on one of the timbers that was not covered through steel reinforcement. This is for placement of 2 large C channels as well as through bolts that will hold and stiffen up the beam that is required per the structural engineer. The next is CR number 35. It's a new basement restroom. As we started construction, it was not part of the plan and not part of the charge on this, but it was found that the Parks and Rec would really benefit and the program would really benefit from a small bathroom that would be located in the back corner of the children's area. We've had it framed to accommodate a bathroom, and we've had it drafted and designed. We had some preliminary investigation to see if the sewer piping could accommodate this. It can. However, because the sewer piping and the exit from the building is higher than where the basement is, there needs to be an emulsifier and a pump that's going to pump out the wastewater up into that clean out that we have. This has been reviewed by our engineer consultants, and we are recommending it as a request from the town at $51,855.50. Number 36 is new restroom fixtures. We are not recommending that tonight. This is for new toilets throughout the building, as well as sinks. The contract documents call for new faucets throughout. It was asked to get a price for this for new fixtures, new toilets and sinks. As they are old, they do work. However, this is the price that we have. We've opted to put this on the shelf, and we'll bring this up at a later meeting if the budget allows. We've also spoken with the contractor to make sure there wouldn't be any lead time issues, and they have no problem with leaving this as an open item to bring at a later date. Number 38 is crawl space encapsulation in the basement. If you walk in through the lower level entry, there is an office to the right that has a small access hatch, which leads to a crawl space of open dirt and air that's providing kind of a musty air and smell that was coming out of there. The HVAC equipment and fresh air that's coming in has helped mitigate all that smell, but this is to little belts and suspenders. It's ultimately to put a vapor barrier in that crawl space with the Stego tape to create to not let any type of moisture come up from the ground and encapsulate that crawl space. That's for $5,068.90. Number 39, as we've gotten quite a bit of rain over the past few weeks, we've realized that a lot of the perimeter site work has been back pitching water into the side of the foundation. As some of the foundation is field stone, we noticed that we were getting a lot of water infiltration in the back corners of these areas. And speaking with the assistant town administrator, Classic has a small site division or a small site contractor that they were able to get out there, mitigate the water. And while he was out there, he was able to put some perforated pipe and crushed stone for a dry well in order to mitigate these problems. This was a unforeseen condition, but a necessary one that needed to be done. The other portion of this T&M work is there's been a lot of work, and I see Eric's on, and a big thanks to Eric and the facilities department. There was a big concern about the sewer water hitting the septic tank, and what we did is we popped the lid on the septic tank, and we were flushing toilets and running sinks, and we weren't seeing any flow for an extended amount of time, to the point where it was being a concern that there was something wrong. We did multiple scoping and camera work in that sewer line. It determined that we had a small belly outside of the foundation in the yard that was creating a backup. And so as part of this T&M work, they were able to fix the drainage and the back pitching that was happening in that area, but also repair the belly in the pipe. And we can confirm that we're getting fast flow now and no concerns of any kind of backup that ultimately we found in the facilities logs of the previous owner that they were having some sewer issues when there was a large stress on the system. The next is floor framing repairs in room 204B. The structural engineer has come out several times. We've received 2 change orders from the contractor that has consisted of structural repairs. The first you can see is grayed out as it is void. We are not recommending it. We had the structural engineer come out, determine exactly what was in the wall. We cut open a few walls. We determined what we had for headers, and we think we can mitigate that one completely. The second was floor framing repairs. We ended up doing the same. We cut open some areas, and we need to do some additional blocking in a couple areas due to the weight of filing cabinets that we have from the school department. The initial proposal on that was around $6,500. We were able to work that down in order to get a more reasonable price by maneuvering and realigning some of the filing cabinets in order to get that number cut almost in half to $3,223.60. The last is an additional fire alarm scope. This was our electrician on site had brought this to our attention that this needs to do some reprogramming, as well as another module that needs to be added per code for the fire alarm. This was deemed acceptable by the electrical consultant, the engineer of record. And the other programming piece that needs to put into this is that the horns and strobes need to be in sync, which they were not, which we were also informed that is a code violation that would need to happen. The programming for this was $10,841.54 that we're also recommending. So with that said, Matt, do you know the total of our green recommendations that we have right now?
I do. Subtracting the 29,000 we are not recommending for PCO number 36. I'll tally this up here. And I believe it was 198, 144 and 98 cents.
I spoke to Ryan Ferrara today. He was very much in favor of proceeding with this, but since he's not on the line, Eric, can you weigh in on this?
Yeah, I would, I'm on the meeting for, on behalf of Ryan, and I would recommend that this be done, due to everything that we found this week on the site visits.
Okay, any questions or comments?
Yeah, Brian, when you were talking about the electrical scope for $80,000, I felt like you were doing, sort of hide the walnut shell or whatever that game is, with the 80,000 and the 90,000. I don't quite understand
Sure.
what's going on there.
Sure. What I have, and I don't know, Matt, do you have our VIP up as well?
Sure do.
So Barl, if I can show you quickly what our VIP or the budgets that we send out on a monthly basis on what I have budgeted here. We're going to use this as a change order ultimately, an $80,000 change order that will be run through our contractor. But I wanted to show, I think can you share it, Matt?
Oh, sorry. I'm sharing a window and not a screen
Gotcha.
here. Try that.
So just to show you, Bartlett, what we have down here in our FF&E line items, we have a low voltage wiring and fiber for $71,000, as well as the phones and IV and AV that we've kind of put all of these together. Some of these are Nancy's equipment. Some of this is school's phone equipment. And then some of this is the low voltage component that we knew that we were going to have to do. And so we had it as a separate budgeted line item because we thought we were going to use town resources for it.
Nope.
However, we're going to use the contractor for it. And what my suggestion would be is to do a budget transfer from our FF&E budget to our construction contingency to make sure that we cover this line item for the low voltage change order.
Okay.
As you can see on this project here, we have $491,000 in uncommitted costs. We know that there's a furniture component to this. We know that there's a moving component to this. So things are going quickly, and with the approval of what we said today, around $190,000, we're going to have to take a look at every change order that comes in independently. And work with Ryan and Steve and the PMBC to make sure that the appropriation can accommodate it.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, is this, is it fair to say that this is kind of part of the nature of the project where you have an existing building that had a lot of stuff going on?
Yeah. I think it's a good point, Tim. This project is unique in the fact that we had to get a design and out to bid so that we had a bid number in hand to come to town meeting within about 4 months, which is extraordinary in order to do. And so we were able to come back with a number with a bid in hand, knowing that we were going to have some unforeseen conditions. To the level that we've had. There have been some asks and requests that we're trying to accommodate that the town is helping with. If there were no other requests, we may not be in this position right now. But yes, for a renovation like this, we knew we were going to find some unforeseens. Some of them have been larger than we anticipated. But I think almost all of the unforeseens have been found at this point. The building has been opened up. We've evaluated HVAC, the sprinkler piping, any of the site work that we're having. So at least with approvals tonight, it will open up months of work for the contractor in order to really plow ahead to get us closer to where we need to be.
So I just want to comment on the unforeseens have primarily been identified.
Yeah, I believe all the major issues have been identified and corrected, and now it's just a matter of getting all the new fixtures and designs and everything in place and kind of putting all the access control and all the protocols that the school department wants and that PRCE wants, and we're pretty much over the hump now.
Well, I think I just want to prepare the committee for some additional asks that may come after more investigation for HVAC work up in the attic.
Yes, that is possible.
There's a 30-ton unit up there that's working, but it's old. And if it needs to be replaced in the next 10 years, this is probably the time to do it.
Right. So
Yeah.
to give a quick, just very quick with that one, Steve, it's a 15-ton HVAC air handling unit up in the attic. We've had some design done from our engineer of record, whose charge for this design was to pretty much get the building up and running and operating as it was bought, and replace anything in kind that was going to be deemed failed. This unit is running. However, like you said, it is towards the end of its life. We're exploring options on what to do, either replacing it with multiple smaller units, but also we're keeping an eye on, you know, how much it's going to cost, because ultimately, if this starts exceeding a certain number, it may not be able to be run through a change order through this project just due to Mass General Law. And so,
Right.
I think at worst case scenario, a lot of the legwork would have been done for the town in the event they wanted to go back for another capital project for HVAC renovations in this building, maybe with a more efficient eye on what they're doing rather than just replacing selective units.
Yep. Just wanted to bring that to the light. So, if there are no more questions on the proposed change orders, Brian, I have a motion.
Minor question about the crawl space encapsulation. Is that's like more than just a polyethylene sheet on the ground, or?
It's a very thick mill, something very similar to what you'd see underneath a slab on grade. And then it's mechanically fastened to the exterior perimeter of the walls as well to make sure that you don't have any seepage around the perimeter.
The Stego product, if I may add, that is specified for that is also a radon barrier.
Okay.
So it's kind of nailed into the concrete, or?
Yeah, it's fastened to the foundation with a termination bar to make sure it has an airtight seal, as Brian alluded to.
Yeah. Okay.
Quick question on the bathroom. How big of a bathroom is it that's being added?
Yep, it's about, these are rough numbers, so don't count into it, but about 12 by 8, 12 by 10.
Is it handicap accessible?
Yes.
Okay. And is it,
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was just thinking it feels a little expensive, but
it seems very expensive.
Agreed.
Any other questions?
that's
So, Brian, if you can form that in some kind of a motion.
Yes, we're looking for a approval of, Matt, can you just rip that number off for me?
Sure. Let me pull it back up.
Seeking approval of change orders in the amount of
$198,144.98.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
motion to approve.
Second?
Seconded.
Roll call vote, Bartlett? You're on mute, Bartlett.
Bartlett, yes.
Okay, Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Mike Scudetto, yes.
and Steve Moore, yes. Great, thank you.
Thank Thank you.
Anything else on the 36 King Street?
The only thing I'd have to offer is now that these change orders have been approved, one of the priorities we're pushing from the contractor is to get us an updated critical path schedule. So incorporating this into this so that ultimately the contract documents had our end of construction around the end of March. I do believe that there will be some added time based on this, and we're going to assess that when they give us their schedule, and then work with them for any type of acceleration or recovery that we can do with them.
And how does that impact the school department and Park and Rec for moving in?
Great question. So Parks and Rec wants to come in as soon as possible, as the summertime is one of their busiest times. And so when we're working with our moving company and we have our schedule and we have a kind of date when we can do, we want to probably move the Parks and Rec as soon as possible to get them in. And speaking with Nancy Glencross, the IT manager, this is just from third party, but it may be advantageous that the school department stays until the end of the school year and then moves in after that during maybe part of their slower time of year, maybe when school is not in session. So we'll be ready and willing to do a phased move if we have to. But I'll make sure that the superintendent as well as the director of PRC kind of lets me know what their priorities are about moving in.
Okay, thanks. Anything else on the Indian Hill?
Nope.
Okay, let's go to the police station. That should be quick.
Yes, we received feedback. Everyone signed up. There was a few dates that were tossed around. I spoke with both Bob Romley on site today, as well as Ryan. If it's the town, it may be the town's best interest to hold off until better weather at this point, as it may provide a better test results on what we're trying to achieve here. If we open up something and have inclement weather and we have driving rain, we may be exasperating the problem, and I don't want to hurt the building even further by trying to chase something else that we're not 100% what it is. So with that said, I can communicate that to both parties. They're both under contract at this point. They've both had an understanding that this may kick until a nicer part of the calendar year, which may be the spring. And if that's the case, we can notify them.
I saw an email exchange and the chief responded that both dates were good with him, but that was sometime this month.
That's correct. That was probably a week from now.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be the recommendation to push that off.
that would be my recommendation, and I don't want to make the decision for the town. However, I think you may get better results, as I believe the chief was having these problems in the summertime and the more humid months. And if we possibly try to do some more testing when the weather is warmer, we may be able to get better results in order to mitigate this.
Eric, do you have any comments on that?
No, I agree with everything that Brian said. I think we should wait until better weather, especially now that it's been pretty wet. So I think we're going to hold off for now.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That doesn't require a vote, but I think that's the direction we should go in.
Okay.
So, sorry, I'm not up to date on this. What's the issue at the police station?
So we had 3 years ago, Tim, we did some envelope repair work. We hired a contractor to do some reconstruction of the stone parapet around the perimeter of the entire police station, as well as window header repairs. There was getting a lot of water infiltration around the perimeter of the building. The roof was also replaced, and all of that masonry was replaced. We did find some bad existing conditions when it came to overhead lintels and with flashing and with insulation in the windows. We did not replace the windows, and from our perspective, that everything went well, installation went well, contractor did a great job. 2 years later, we received a call from the chief that he was having some of the same issues on certain windows in part of the building where he was getting buckling on the interior of the frames. The window blinds were also buckling because of the expansion of the trim around the windows. And so while I think a majority of the problem was fixed, we're still seeing some sort of moisture getting either in through a certain cavity or not. And so we've asked for a price from that original contractor to come and remove some stone, and we've engaged with an envelope consultant that would come in and do some additional testing after reviewing all of the other tests and reports that have been done on this building to date. They've suggested a few additional tests with a lift and some water, and hopefully can generate a report and recommendation from that.
And this is specifically on that decorative concrete masonry unit, that band that goes around the building. It's kind of a flat band, and when we did the repairs 2 years ago, we pressure washed that and it was all clean, and now it's all black again with mold. So that indicates to us that there might be some problems up there.
Agreed.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, those tests sound like something you do on warm, dry weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on police station? The next item is a December meeting schedule. The next meeting is Christmas Eve. I'm sure everyone will be more than delighted to attend a PMBC meeting that night. So I guess it's my recommendation that we would have our next meeting on
January 8th. January 8th.
January 8th. Thank you.
Yep.
And I don't think we have any other business that we need to attend to this month. So if everyone's good with January 8th, we'll schedule it for that date. Hearing no objections, that's what we'll do. Member input, Bartlett,
No, I'm good, thanks.
Tim,
No, I don't have any.
Mike,
I'm all set, thanks.
and I'm all set. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, Bartlett,
Bartlett, yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Mike, yes.
Steve, yes. Thanks very much for your participation. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you next year.